See, I'm in sort of a unique, well, maybe not unique, but I would say unusual position in that I kind of started streaming. Let me put it this way: if it was possible for a person to start streaming by accident, that would sort of be me. Obviously not really possible since you have to obviously you have to know what you're doing, but very much not something I ever would have seen me doing if anybody asked me, I don't know, 6 months or a year ago. Hell, if you'd asked me a year ago if I'd ever live stream anything on Twitch, I probably would have laughed at you, honestly. Well, I'm blaming Brando 30 Rock, honestly, because he kept shouting me out, and I kept feeling bad because every time he shouted me out, there was nothing there to see. But no matter how many times I pointed that out, he kept doing it anyway. He was like, well, if you ever decide you want to start streaming, then yeah, and that's where it's sort of an advantage that I was sort of almost accidentally started streaming in a way, because I didn't go into it with any intention of I have no intention of ever being a big streamer. Honestly, I don't care if I ever reach partner. In fact, I think I probably prefer not to. I would like to reach affiliate, but the biggest reason I want to reach affiliate is for fun community boosting things like emotes and channel point redemptions and being able to make people VIP and all the channel community strengthening stuff that comes with being an affiliate that you just don't get beforehand. It's mainly the reason I want affiliate, to be honest. But I not only have no intention, but I have no desire of ever being what anybody would ever consider a big streamer, because I prefer the little streams myself. I'm in it for the community, honestly. The friends and the gameplay and the jokes and the hanging out and supporting each other and that sort of thing. Because I'm very much an introvert, and I've always had some pretty significant social anxiety, which I discovered when I worked my first retail job. Actually was sort of helped by me being forced into a position where I had to function with it. My first customer service sort of job was as a seasonal greeter at a Sprint store, Sprint cell phone store, summer of 2012. And I made such a fool of myself mixing up words and things the first day, because I also have auditory processing disorder, and the more CPU, so to speak, that my brain uses on managing anxiety, the less it's using on processing the sounds that come in my ears, which it already has trouble with anyway. So I made a fool of myself that very first day. Not only that, but I made a total moron of myself to the guy who would later become my boyfriend. That was a funny story. But what I discovered over the long term was that being in a position where literally my entire job was to say hello to strangers from 9 to 5 days a week for a whole summer, actually, once I got past the constant panic and the feeling like I was going to have a heart attack all day long and the unable to form intelligent sounding sentences because I'm too busy focusing on breathing, that sort of thing. Once I started to adapt to that, it actually got a lot better. And what I discovered when the pandemic hit was that apparently that is not a permanent thing. Apparently it's sort of like riding a bike where you can get the progress back, but you're going to be wobbly at first. So when the pandemic hit and I wasn't working any working with people in any way, shape, or form. Like, I burned out of retail so hard and so fast because, I mean, anxiety aside, I am an introvert. I'm not built for 40 hours a week of customer service. I don't have the constitution for it. But what I discovered was that as soon as I stopped doing any sort of, like, working with people at all because of the pandemic, my social anxiety gradually got worse and worse and worse to the point where I'm told it wasn't, but I could have sworn that the very first time I streamed, like, my voice was audibly shaking. They tell me it wasn't. I don't know whether they're just being nice or not, but you get the idea. It was bad, and that was after only year and a half, 2 years. So, in a way, this is also sort of me staying in practice, so to speak. It's really relaxing to not have started streaming with any thought of ever using it to pay anything at all. Like, to me, the payment is the keeping my I need to come up with a funky term that, like, explains the whole staying in practice with the interaction thing so the social anxiety doesn't, like, blow up and out of control and then I die a lonely hermit, 50 years from now, having never left my apartment ever again. To me, that's the quote unquote pay that that non-toxic environment to stay in practice with the interaction so that my anxiety stays under control because I stay in practice and, I don't have to do the whole super uncomfortable remind myself that I knew how to do the talking to people thing once. Not having to go do that again is totally payment enough for me. No! Shoot! Oh. I just realized I forgot to turn my death counter on. I usually have a death counter up in the corner of the screen for just this exact reason. That being said, while you are partly dead, not to be confused with all dead, while you are mostly dead, you are safe from further death. So I'm going to take this chance real quick to not a very sophisticated death counter. I literally have to enter the numbers in manually every time. But first death on stream of the night. Actually, first death on a Minecraft stream in a while. I think it's been at least 2 weeks since we've used it. Yeah, that was a pretty bad one as far as dumb stream deaths go, because I literally just got stuck in the hole with the TNT. The reason I got stuck, though, wasn't just because I can't, like, operate the function of movement in Minecraft. It was because the TNT becomes an entity once it's lit. That's why it falls and starts obeying gravity if it's got air underneath it once you light it. But because of that, it's an entity instead of a solid block, which means that I couldn't jump up off of it after it had already been lit. Problem was I lit it as I was falling into the hole, so I didn't really have a way out without switching to my rockets, and I just wasn't fast enough for that. So the death itself was really dumb. But the reason I didn't escape it was actually more legit than it appeared, I swear. So basically, this pillar of scaffolding here marks the center point of the end portal in our world. So basically what I want to do is kind of turn the entire end portal into sort of some sort of feature, I guess. Like, I can't remember what the name of it is. Like the ancient Colosseum, or there was one that I want to say was Greek design. It was like amphitheater style build, but it was like open to the sky. I don't know, something along those lines, where it's like this big grand feature sort of thing that also makes it feel like the end portal is somewhere to go rather than just a box of void in a random box of stone brick buried under the ground in the middle of nowhere. If that makes sense. Trying to make it more of a feature of the world, I guess. At least in terms of visual appearance, since obviously function is function in this sense. The idea that I'm sort of working off of, it's basically my idea for a loose starting point until or unless I can get some other ideas going, like in chat or whatever. The digging itself is going to take a couple of streams. This is my second and a half stream working on this, because the first one was a mini one. And it's going to take a few streams to actually get the ground cleared out. But if I get any other, I've definitely been saying, if anybody has ideas, let me know, because what I'm working off of is a very loose idea, but the idea I have in my head is it's heavily inspired by something that a Minecraft YouTuber called IBX Toycat did, in one of his videos sometime back, where basically, if you imagine that the end portal itself sort of becomes the tip of an upside down pyramid, but a pyramid without a floor. So it's also, if you know a funnel shape, it's sort of like a square funnel. But because Minecraft is blocks, it won't be a smooth slope. It'll be like that amphitheater steps sort of slope. So I figured there would be some neat design stuff we could play around with that once we actually get there. Right now, number one concern is just actually making space for anything. But so far, it's heavily influenced by IBX Toycat's design. But that's the best idea I've come up with so far. I'm kind of hoping that, people start thinking of ideas or just mental images of random things, because even if it's not a complete idea, having input from other people's creativity can be an enormous help, especially in games like Minecraft, where even if you're really good at thinking outside the box, you still have sort of your own boxes and ways of thinking, where even if somebody else suggests something that just doesn't make any sense for whatever you're trying to do, even something that wouldn't at all work on its own can give you the idea that you never would have gotten any other way, which is one of the things that makes Minecraft multiplayer servers so much fun, because all it takes is a couple of people just talking about fun possibilities, and then all of a sudden you've got ideas going every which way. I have a permanent poll on my channel page under the About tab, where you can go and vote for which game you want to see me play next on stream. I basically have a couple that I regularly kind of cycle between. So what I do is I just leave the poll up, and then you guys can vote whenever you feel like it, and those votes will be applied to my next stream. Basically, before I start streaming, I'll just check the poll, and whatever has the highest number of votes at that time is what I'll stream, and then I'll reset the poll so that you can vote for something else if you want. You can vote for more than one thing, by the way. I know it'll allow at least 2. It hadn't occurred to me until just now to even try 3, since there are only 4 options at the moment. But, yeah, and the options won't always be the same. But I tend to play the same couple of games for a while before swapping one out for something different. Like, I'm a variety streamer, but I'm a creature of habit too, if that makes sense. So, every once in a while, the options may be different, but it's a pretty safe bet that it'll be the same few options at least a couple of weeks in a row, generally speaking, if not longer. Like After Party, I definitely want to finish After Party on stream since I actually started it. It's my first playthrough, which I keep forgetting to put in my tags, come to think of it. But it's my first playthrough, and I started it on stream, so I definitely want to finish it on stream. So basically, that'll be an option for as long as it takes for that to happen. Unless it just stops getting any interest whatsoever. But so far, it's been reasonably popular, so don't see that happening anytime soon. No, not over me, thank you. So, Tamaranth, how did you die the second time? I gave myself a TNT hat and then set it on fire. Oops. Stream after that. The one exception is that Minecraft Mondays has sort of become a channel tradition, if you will. So, if you vote for something on Sunday night, my next stream is going to be Monday night. So, it'll actually... your vote will actually apply to the stream after Monday, because Minecraft Mondays is for Minecraft, Aside from that, though, it'll be whatever the next stream is. If there's a tie, I'll always pick the game that was played the least recently. So, like, right now, actually, I think we might have a tie right now. Right now might be an excellent example. So right now, the poll is tied between Pathfinder, Kingmaker, and After Party, both of which I've been playing on stream. So, if I go to stream tomorrow and it's still tied, then I'll go with Pathfinder because I streamed After Party most recently. And that'll always be the case. So, if you see a tie, all you have to do is look at my VODs to know which one I'm going to be streaming, because it'll be the one that wasn't the most recent. I really hope all those words came out making sense. They felt pretty like actual sentences as I was speaking them, but it's 2:55 in the morning. That doesn't necessarily mean that they sounded like it.